if you're ready.
All right, we're ready to go.
All right, fantastic. Jake?
Yep.
You are on with Andrew and Tom, and guys, you can take it away when you're ready.
All right, here we go. Jake, you there?
Yep.
All right, here we go. This Saturday is a UFC Fight Night live from Newark, New Jersey. Tom Kozlowski and Andrew Williams here with you on 104.5 The Team and 104.5theteam.com. And the man joining us on the phone lines will be competing at UFC Fight Night, Jake Ellenberger. And Jake, how's training been going so far for you leading up to the fight?
Oh, things have been great. Things have been good. Everything's been, no injuries, which is nice. It's definitely a battle in itself to get to the fight without an injury, but things are good. I can't complain.
And Jake, obviously the UFC must be happy that you don't have injuries after all the injuries that have been going on this week inside the sport. You're facing against a guy that's been out of the ring 15 months due to injuries. Are you somebody that believes that there's such thing as cage rust?
Yeah, it's tough. I think it's one of those things that the longer time you spend out, the harder it is to kind of get comfortable in there. So I do believe there is something there. I don't know if I'd play into it as much as a lot of people would like to, but it definitely has an effect. Yeah.
Is it hard for you trying to study an opponent? 15 months ago is the last thing you can really check up on. Is it a different element trying to prepare for a fighter who's been off for so long?
Not really. I mean, it's funny because you got to realize people can only play off their strengths and what they're good at. And I think, once you can kind of really focus in on what they're good at, even for me, I know where I'm great at, I know where I'm not good at. So it's like being able to focus on where I'm good and just really push my strengths onto him. And so it's more so just being aware of where he's good and kind of addressing that. But at the same time, it's in my mind, the best offense, the best defense is a good offense. So it's acknowledging where he does well and just being aware and staying smart.
This Saturday is UFC Fight Night live from Newark, New Jersey. Prelims start at 5, main card starts at 8. And joining us on the phone lines, he'll be fighting at UFC Fight Night, Jake Ellenberger.
And also known as the Juggernaut. Jake, I got to know, who was the first person to call you Juggernaut? Where did this come from?
It came back, actually, my hometown. I remember I fought a guy, real local show, a guy who probably shouldn't have been fighting, but I literally would just walk through a couple of fights, like walked through it like I had been fighting for 20 years, and it was more actually a couple of family members, like a buddy of mine and my cousin actually they were like related me to the Juggernaut in the X-Men character. So
okay.
I don't know, it kind of stuck. It's one of those, you don't really choose your nickname, but it's there to stay, I guess.
All right, Juggernaut, we play a game on this show called Defend Your Tweet. We want to know if you want to play with us. Well, defend your tweet. One of the things from your Twitter account is at Ellenberger MMA, correct?
Yeah, that's great.
All right, you tweeted this yesterday. Quote, I could listen to Rainn Wilson all day. Defend your tweet, man.
I just think he's really. I mean, I was actually watching him on TV on a late night show. I don't remember what it was, but he's a very interesting guy. He kind of, with actors too. You have this perception of their world and how what they're like, and it's actually not really what they're like. It's just, you forget that that's their acting world, but. I just find him a very interesting guy, and a buddy of mine, Chael, had him on his podcast, and thought it was almost like he was different than I even had already concluded in my mind. So just an interesting guy. I'd love to have a conversation with him one day.
Have you watched his stuff from The Office when he played Dwight Schrute?
Oh yeah, yeah, classic.
All right, Jake, real quick question. I want to know, you fought Robbie Lawler before. What did you think of the Lawler-Condit fight? Do you think it went the right way?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's tough. I've had a lot of conversations more recently just about the judging in general as far as, I guess, first of all, it was a very close fight. I thought Condit might have got the nod. And there's fights that you think would go one way, like even the Dominic Cruz, TJ Dillashaw. Like I thought it was I thought TJ had won the fight. And again, it's so subjective. It's like, well, what are the judges looking for? And then the problem too is there's not really a training, I should say, platform for judges. You know, depending on where they came from or what they maybe might have a bias in boxing or in wrestling. You know, whatever it is, we don't really know. So it's that was a good fight. That was a fun fight to watch. You know, I thought Condit was going to get the nod. He didn't. You know, it's one of those things.
Yeah. Does that put any more pressure on you to want to finish fights and not let the judges take advantage or take control of it? To say.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're in the sport and you're not thinking about going to the judges, because you never know. You don't know. You know, you could have your opponent's third cousin's, you know, ex-girlfriend's sister's, you know, cousin was a judge, and you're like, oh, I didn't. You don't know anything about it, especially that becomes out of your hands. So that I would say that the urgency for sure. You know, leaving a kind of a stamp on a round or whatever it is, but just trying to make it as clear as possible. You know, obviously going for the finish is ideal, but at this level, you know, everybody's pretty tough.
All right, Jake, we're going to get you out here on this. Let's get a prediction for this Saturday. What happens inside the octagon on UFC Fight Night?
I think I'll finish him in the first round.
Woo!
TKO, absolutely.
There it is. First round TKO. The Juggernaut's calling it this Saturday. UFC Fight Night live from Newark, New Jersey. Prelims start at 5. Main card starts at 8. Jake Ellenberger. Jake, best of luck this weekend.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jake, man. That was awesome.